I have a ginormous book haul, and so we are just going to dive right into it. I hope you enjoy vintage science fiction hardcovers and some very eclectic things that are freaking awesome. I also have a book in here that is 95 years old. It is a first edition of one of the most important westerns ever published. I have a bunch of books that I picked up from a thrift store near my house, like this charity shop, and they're really awesome. And so I picked up a bunch of stuff. So let's go through all of that first. I have Robert E. Howard's Swords of Shahrazar in paperback from 1978. And here's the crazy thing about this. On the front, it says illustrated full color fold out poster. And I was like, there's no way it's going to still be in there. It's still in there. Look at that. It's amazing. I plan on putting that in a frame as soon as I find a frame that fits this like 6-inch by 14-inch weird shaped piece of art. But it is just the wraparound art that's on the book, just in like a little poster form. Freaking awesome. I'm not even sure what this series is. I think some of this might be in that little Eastern Historicals collection I got not too long ago. That Lord of Samarkand set, I would have to double check. By the way, all of these were 2 for $1. I picked up Doorways in the Sand by Roger Zelazny. It's this nice trippy paperback. I didn't have a copy of this, and you gotta start somewhere. I'll eventually upgrade it to a hardcover or like a cool modern trade or something, because I like this a lot. Like every other Zelazny book, it's got a trippy ass premise, and he just starts cooking, and the books are usually pretty good. Oh, look, a guest. What do you want, dude? I have a goblin with me now, so let's see if I can grab a book while holding a goblin. I picked up Star Trek books because I am currently playing in a Star Trek tabletop RPG game, and I'm having a ton of fun, and I was like, I should do a little research. So I've been watching a couple of the Star Trek shows, and I picked up Star Trek Log 1 and Log 2, and what these are the adaptations of the screenplays from the animated series, the one where all the memes are from. And I'm a little over halfway through Star Trek Log 1, and it's not bad. They're both written by Alan Dean Foster, and I think I read Splinter of the Mind's Eye when I was 11, so I don't remember anything about it. I don't remember his writing style or anything, but it's not bad. You can tell that it's like not the best writing, but he's really just adapting screenplays and creating serviceable paperbacks that were being sold at the time to Trekkies. This dude is killing me. He won't go down, and he also won't quit clinging to me. Bro, you're killing me. Terrible. The last one I picked up was Star Trek Corona, and this is written by Greg Bear. And I picked it up solely because it's written by Greg Bear. He's one of those lesser known heavy hitters of science fiction, especially in the 70s and 80s. He also wrote the trippiest fantasy series I've ever read. I read it as a paperback called Songs of Earth and Power, and I remember nothing about it except that it was unlike any other fantasy I'd ever read. And I really want to read it again because that was almost 20 years ago that I read it. Went to pick up a copy and I was like, oh, holy crap. This was only called Songs of Earth and Power once, and those mass market paperbacks are very expensive. The next thing I picked up was Bug Jack Baron by Norman Spinrad. Now, I picked this up because I want to try a Norman Spinrad book that's not the alternate history where Hitler is in like America or whatever it's called. It's like I can't remember what it's called. I don't really feel like reading that one. But this Bug Jack Baron is a classic near future novel of media manipulation, political chicanery, murder, and worse. That doesn't sound familiar at all. That definitely would not happen in the real world. Now, this book has been staring at me at different bookstores for a very long time. I don't know if I will read it, but I picked it up because it is another Borealis Press book. Borealis Press was part of White Wolf. They printed all of Michael Moorcock's Eternal Champion books, and White Wolf was known for publishing Vampire the Masquerade and the other tabletop RPGs like that. They used a lot of their tabletop RPG money to basically print speculative fiction books that weren't getting printed other places, and this one is Midnight Blue by Nancy A. Collins. She's a Bram Stoker Award winner, and this is Sunglasses After Dark, In the Blood, and Painted Black. I believe that this is vampire fiction. Every time I read the description, I forget what it was actually about, and I just finally picked up a copy. This is like the second hardcover I've seen. I've seen a trade paperback. This does not have a price in it, which leads me to believe that it is a book club edition. Oh yeah, it is a book club edition. You can see that it's got the little digits on the back. Well, you can't see because it's blurry and shiny, but I can see, and I can tell you that it is indeed a book club edition, but that's okay. It's in really good shape. I was happy to get it for 50 cents. I got 5 more that I picked up at the thrift shop. The next one was just one of the Clifford D. Simics that I don't own, and that's Shakespeare's Planet. It's just got a trippy premise, and it's Clifford D. Simic. All of his books are short, so even if one of them is bad, which I doubt it will be because every time I've read anything from Clifford D. Simic, I have enjoyed it. Waystation 100% deserved the Hugo Award that it won in 1964. Another cool thing, so this is a book club edition. I found inside of the book teasers for the next books coming out in the book club. This is from June of 1976, and this other one is get one of 28 books free. Your friend chooses any 4 for 10 cents with membership. I actually own quite a few of the books teased on here. The Computer Connection by Alfred Bester, Swords of Mars and Synthetic Men of Mars, The Mote in God's Eye, Again Dangerous Visions. Oh, that's a teaser for later in this book haul. The Foundation Trilogy, Science Fiction Hall of Fame. Yeah, this is awesome. Wow. I might use this as a way to keep collecting book club editions. That's really cool. I just think it's awesome that it came with this stuff. Hey, I have that too. The Winter of the World by Poul Anderson. I have that sitting in my garage because I'm worried that it has mold or mildew. Been out there for a while. I've been letting it dry out. I got really paranoid about mildew in my books, and I kind of panicked and like cleaned all of my books, not with chemicals or anything, just dusted everything. And I went through all 1,100 plus books that I own and inspected every single one of them. And that took a lot of time. It was a little extreme, but here we are. None of my books have mildew, and the few that I suspected are in my garage. I have heard of James Tiptree Jr., but I've never read anything from him, and so I picked up this bad boy for 50 cents. Brightness Falls from the Air. I really hope this isn't a sequel, but I know he's just been nominated and won a ton of Hugo Awards and Nebula Awards, so I thought, I'll pick this up. It's only 50 cents. Why not? These next 2 are from Brian W. Aldiss. I picked up Heliconia Spring. I've heard things about this, have not read it. I cracked it open and tried reading some of it, and I'm like, ooh, this might be a little tough, but this book club edition hardcover is in great shape. The cover's a little rough. That'll all go away once I put a dust jacket protector on it. It'll be beautiful. And yeah, I've been interested in reading Brian W. Aldiss, and I picked up Earthworks as well. That's already got a cover on it. And so hopefully they turn out good. All this vintage science fiction is just making me really want to dive into more vintage science fiction. I'm currently reading a collection of Roger Zelazny's essays about writing, and he's talking about vintage SF, and starting to just meld into my brain that it's something I need to read more of, which is true. So maybe I'll start tackling some of these. I have actually started to read some of these, and I have even read some of these books that I bought. So it's not like I added exclusively books I haven't read to my collection. This last one that I got from the thrift store is probably the coolest, and that is Weird Vampire Tales, 30 blood-chilling stories from the weird fiction pulps. Now you're like, okay, whatever, it's weird fiction that's probably themed around vampires and undead. Yes, that's exactly what it is. But do you know what else it is? It's got stories from Clark Ashton Smith, Robert E. Howard, C.L. Moore, Henry Kuttner, Lester Del Rey, A.E. Van Vogt, Robert Bloch, Manly Wade Wellman, August Derleth, C.M. Kornbluth. He'll come up later too. Just one heavy hitter after another of some of the best weird fiction. Couldn't say no to that. So that one I'm probably going to chip away at slowly, just read a story here or there. I can't pad my Goodreads stats if I'm just reading 1 or 2 stories out of a book, but that's not what we're here for. I don't need to pad my stats. These next two are a little bit of standalones. Like I kind of picked them up on their own. Like this is over a month and a half's worth of books that I bought. I just was like, oh, I'll save them for a book haul. I just stack them all on the side of my desk. And once I hit critical mass, then I film a video. Well, I'm like beyond critical mass, as you can tell. I just covered an amount of books that's usually for an entire book haul, and I'm only halfway done. I picked up MacArthur's Bloody Butchers from Brian Bruce, aka Bookish, on BookTube. I started reading this. I read like the introduction, and it's very good. I'm looking forward to this quite a bit. I have realized the more I've read history that I actually prefer a more narrowed focus when it comes to a topic. Say I want to start reading about the Pacific. It's good to read memoirs, and it's good to read things like this that really focus down and just allow your brain to kind of get a firm grip on a topic before you read the big expansive books. A lot of people talk about doing it the other way, where you start with this big sweeping narrative about the war and then you focus down. I have done that, and I think starting with a narrow focus works better. So MacArthur's Bloody Butchers is going to be a banger for me because I like reading about the Pacific, and this is just going to add to my collection. And who knows, maybe in my future sequel video about important books about war, this will be on it. I guess we'll see. After that, some friends of mine were very generous, and they got me a copy of Time and Tomorrow by John D. MacDonald. Yes, that guy that wrote amazing crime fiction also wrote some science fiction. And this is all 3 of his science fiction novels in one book. So that's pretty awesome. I can't wait to read them. I have seen copies of this. This one's in really good shape. And the ones I've seen in person look like they were used as toilet paper. So I'm very hyped to have one in such good condition. Now, yesterday, I went to my favorite bookstore and I picked up some very cool books. Now, one of those books, this is the one I was teasing, is Destry Rides Again by Max Brand. This was published in 1930. This copy is from 1930. Now, yes, this dust jacket is beautiful. It is a facsimile. This is a reproduction cover. If this thing had a dust jacket that was this nice, that was original, your boy would be paying off some serious debt by selling it. Holy crap. Like, I've never seen one with a dust jacket this nice. So when I saw it at the store, I was like, whoa, that's beautiful. What the heck? And I flipped it open and immediately saw that it's a facsimile dust jacket. But I also saw that it is indeed a 1930 first edition in pencil right here. It's written 1930. I think when this person purchased it or when the store purchased it, because it's got like an inventory number. So maybe that was the bookshop that bought it initially. But wow, 1930. And Destry Rides Again, very good Western. Like, seriously, one of the foundations of the genre. I highly recommend it, and I love that on the back it's got like these quality books you might also like. Things like The Murder at the Vicarage by Agatha Christie, Dr. Priestley Investigates by John Rode. Things are not always what they seem in life or death. Dr. Priestley's careful, logical unfolding of the mystery of Mr. Corningsworth's death will win your enthusiasm. Alrighty then. Anyways, yeah, Dodd Mead and Company, publishers, New York. Look at this thing. Like, I showed you some of the pages. This thing's in really good shape. Yeah, it's yellowed. It's 95 years old. They most certainly were not getting all the acid out of this paper at the time. Yeah, it's in really good shape. There's only one iffy spot in the spine, but look at this. This is very good condition for this book. I was looking around on eBay and all of them are super yellowed and they're not first like printings or early printings. Like, this one's definitely one of the very early ones, and the text is great. The pages are still bright. I was so happy to finally bring this home. This has been staring at me for over a year. I found it last year and I was like, hey, I should get this. And then I found other stuff and I'm like, I'll put it back. It's kind of pricey. I don't think it's going to sell. And I went there 10 or 11 times since the first time I saw it, and it's been there every time. But this time I was in and I'd grabbed a couple of books. I'd put back a bunch of stuff and I was like, I'm going to blow out the budget just a little and pick up this beautiful copy of Destry Rides Again. I'm super happy that I own a copy of that. Just these nice pillars of a genre, and having an early edition of it that's beautiful just brings me nothing but joy. Now, this next one, speaking of a pillar of the genre, but one no one ever really talks about, His Share of Glory, the complete short science fiction of C.M. Kornbluth. He was the co-author of The Space Merchants with Frederick Pohl. I love the book. He is just an amazing science fiction writer. His satire is so good, and this is all of his short stories. And here's the best part. It's from NESFA Press, the company that is out there really putting in the work to keep these vintage science fiction books in publication and keep these early works alive. It's so cool. And I was super excited to find a copy. Very crispy, very clean. This one looks like it was definitely kind of squished though. It's kind of squared off on the dust jacket, like it got packed in somewhere, but that's okay. I'm still very happy with this. I really like C.M. Kornbluth. I'm going to start whittling away at this as well. Like I said about the vampire book, I'm going to read C.M. Kornbluth first, and I plan on doing maybe a short story a week. He's got a lot of short stories. Like, holy crap, he has a lot of short stories, but that's okay. I'll get through them and I'll have a lot of fun. I love NESFA Press's books. They're just beautiful. They always have these little goodies in them, either intros from amazing authors or pieces of manuscripts, stuff like that. It's just so good. I have few book selling regrets. I kind of regret selling all of my Starfinder first edition books, but I never played it, so I can't regret that too much. Well, I found a copy of Again Dangerous Visions, a book club edition hardcover that's in fantastic shape. I'm glad I picked it up. It's got all the heavy hitters in it. I mean, for anyone that doesn't know about Dangerous Visions and Again Dangerous Visions, these books changed science fiction. All new authors that weren't part of the old guard were really put in front of the reading public in a serious way. Dangerous Visions is such a good collection of short fiction. Some of the stories in there are just permanently imprinted on my mind. I think about them way more than I probably should, and I need to get back to them by finishing up Again Dangerous Visions, because it has very heavy hitters in it. Ursula K. Le Guin, Gene Wolfe, Kurt Vonnegut Jr., David Gerald. David Gerald's interesting. He has a book about how to write science fiction, and it's very good. He wrote the episode of Star Trek, The Trouble with Tribbles. Yeah, we got these other unknown authors in here, like Dean Koontz. No one's ever heard of that guy. James Blish, who's that? M. John Harrison, never heard of him. Oh, look, James Tiptree Jr. Ben Bova. Who are these people? No one reads them. These last three I picked up from my local library. This first one was recommended on a BookTube channel. I can't remember which one it was. I feel really bad for not remembering. It was How to Read Literature Like a Professor. It's just another one of those books that's a book about books and a book about reading, and for some reason I am a little bit obsessed with those. I'm looking forward to getting to this. It's about breaking down literature and understanding the themes and kind of what the author was trying to get across, because I'm kind of blind to that stuff a lot of the time. Like I've said before, I read Malazan for the Unga Bunga, not the themes of compassion and all the other stuff going on in there. I understood that it was there and I could see it after a while, but give me explosions and wizards and stuff. I want to be a better, more informed reader. It's one of the reasons I read as widely as I do. And, you know, books like this and other books on how to write help me do that. Should be a good book. Looking forward to getting to it. I've been on a nonfiction kick lately. I'm about to finish my third nonfiction book in a row, which is wild. You know, I gotta have those stats so I can get that 20% nonfiction, because what is the point of having arbitrary goals if we're not going to try to crush them? This next book is the Complete Essays of Mark Twain. I will never read this cover to cover. Oh, you thought I was going to say I'd never read it, period. But what I will do is open this book and just read some of his essays every once in a while. I like Mark Twain quite a bit, and he was the author of one of my favorite eras of history, which is the Gilded Age. You know, the term was coined by him in the book he co-authored. I'm just a big fan of Mark Twain, and so reading his essays seems very fun. He is a little sassy at times. I really like his writing, and so to just have even more of his work that I can peruse. I have the giant, like, academic version of his autobiography. It's 3 volumes. I have collections of his letters. I now have collections of his essays. I like reading his stuff. I really want to make him a project at some point. And this last one, which is definitely not least, is Sin Killer by Larry McMurtry. I believe that I own book 2 and book 3 already. I was like, hey, I think I already have the Barry Bender books 2 and 3 and maybe 4, so here's number 1. Love the art on it. Big fan of McMurtry, so, you know, had to pick it up. But yeah, that's it for my books. I hope you enjoyed this. I tried to get a little deeper on some of these books than just being like, oh, look what I bought, and then pitch it and be like, never gonna read that. So let me know what you think of this haul. This was quite a hefty haul. Thanks for watching, and with that, I'll see you next time.